So I, 15-year-old male, am going to pass from 10th to 11th grade this winter break. Every year at my high school, they do this big Mexican celebration, I'm in Mexico, to celebrate our tradition and stuff, and everyone is mandated to participate in it. They give each grade a little booth to sell food and drinks, and they give us a bunch of tickets so we can sell them and fund the party. My sister, 20-year-old female, went to the same school I am in and put herself as my tutor, which means she's basically the one the school sends the emails and calls about tuition and stuff like that. So since she's already been to about 3 of these parties, she knows the gist of it and was supposed to help me sell the tickets, as well as my father, 50-year-old male, who is the one who pays for the tuition. When I told him, he said, "Yeah, I'll help you sell them." A month passes, and it's a week before the party, and I had still not sold any tickets, and I forgot about them because of exams, and they were just collecting dust in my drawer. That's when my father tells me, "Hey, you want to go to SeaWorld with me and your stepmom?" Which, to I say sure, but it was on the day of the party, which I didn't really mind not going to because of SeaWorld. After I return, the party is over, and I never hear from the tickets again. A week after that, I get told by the principal I need to pay some late fees on tuition and extra stuff, which I presume were the tickets. I tell my dad, and he pays with some troubles from the sales department at the high school, but it gets resolved. Mind, this is in late September. Jump to a week ago, at the end of the winter break, when my sister comes to me saying, "Hey, I just got a call from school saying you need to pay for the tickets you had to sell. How many did you sell?" And I told her none. I didn't go to the party. Plus, you and Dad didn't really help me sell anything. To which she gets mad at me for not being responsible. And I tell her, what the F was I supposed to do? To which she responded, "You could have sold them to your friends," which I did try. None of them wanted to get in extra debt. She tells me that we have to pay for the tickets, and I ask her how much is it. She says $30 per ticket. I found the old strip of tickets and counted 16, which means at a total, it would cost us about $400 to $500. Now my sister and mom are mad at me for this, and I don't even know if my father knows yet, and I can't sell them now that the party was done 4 months ago. I honestly don't think I'm the jerk in this situation, because this is the first of these parties I was in, and my sister was supposed to help me out. She did nothing, and my father was supposed to help me sell the dang tickets. He also did nothing. I did my part to the best of my knowledge, and they did not help at all. Now my family is mad at me. So Reddit, am I the idiot? Update. I thought I might need to clear up some things about my situation, so here's a quick notes. 1. I really don't want to just place the blame somewhere else. I believe in consequences for actions. I also see how I may have come across as irresponsible, which I kinda am. I have no real experience with this stuff. 2. I really couldn't just take responsibility of selling the tickets. People at school didn't want more tickets. I don't know anyone outside of school, and I couldn't sell them around because I ain't allowed to wander around in the streets. Also, I couldn't sell them online. That's why I needed the help from my family. Number 3. When I say, "Oh, I forgot," I mean that I was in the middle of exam season and had to study for about 12 different exams and projects, which took all my attention at the moment. Update 2. Alright, I think to clear up more things. 4. Some people seem to think I just got the tickets and didn't even mention them to my parents, and now blame them. And sorry if I told it like that. English ain't my first language, and it's my first time writing. Am I the idiot story? I did tell my family about my tickets. For about 2 weeks straight, we got the tickets at the start of the semester. I talked to my family about it. Then at the end of the semester, I entered exams, and that's when I left the tickets in a drawer. I asked them about 7 times in 2 to 3 weeks before the exams came. Number 5. The tickets aren't a house-to-house sale. They literally just give you a bunch of tickets and say sell them. Update 3 and final. Well, I read a lot of your comments and responded to a few, and the situation just got resolved. Yes, I'm in butt for not remembering my responsibility. Yes, the school is in butt for giving students over $400 worth of stuff. Yes, my family could have helped me more. At the end of the day, I'm mostly at fault, and I accept it. I just talked to my father about the matter, and he told me to not worry too much about it. He will pay the fee, and even apologized for not helping me sell the tickets. I also apologized for getting him into this mess. As for my sister, I think she's still mad at me, but I think it'll blow off. Thanks for the kind of reality check and for the support. Also, if any TikTokers see this, do not post this story. I don't mean this as clout chasing at all. I truly fear this getting back to my known ones, or even the school. Thanks for reading. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. This is an insane policy. Teenagers are given $500 worth of tickets and told that they have to sell them or pay the shortfall themselves, regardless of whether or not they agree, and regardless of whether or not they are attending the event. If the school made it very clear that all students were expected to give $500 back, regardless of whether they were able to sell tickets, then I would say, everyone sucks here. If they didn't, then I will stick to not the idiot. Comment 2. You're the idiot. It was your responsibility, and you need to act like a 15-year-old, not a 7-year-old. You forgot, and are now blaming everyone else for it. You could have reminded your dad a few times. You could have talked with your school about not being able to sell tickets prior to the event. You could have tried other ways to sell them. You just couldn't be bothered to do anything. Now, for the update. Hey Reddit, back again with another update on the ticket fiasco from a few months ago. You might remember me, the 15-year-old who got into a bit of a bind with my school's celebration tickets. Well, buckle up, because things took a turn for the dramatic, and I'm here to spill the tea. First off, let me fill you in on some backstory that I didn't mention before. My sister, who's 20, has always been the golden child in our family. She's the one who graduated top of her class, never got into trouble, and always did everything right. So when she got mad at me for not selling the tickets, it hit hard. I felt like I was living in her shadow, struggling to keep up. Now let's fast forward to the juicy stuff. After my last update, I was feeling pretty down. My sister was still giving me the cold shoulder, and I was dreading the conversation with my dad about the unsold tickets. But then, something unexpected happened. My dad sat me down for a chat, and it turned out he had a surprise for me. He had been talking to some of his work buddies, and guess what? They were looking for a way to do some community support. My dad, being the savvy businessman he is, saw an opportunity. He pitched the idea of buying the leftover tickets as a donation to the school. His friends loved it. They ended up buying all the tickets, which not only cleared my debt but also gave a nice little boost to the school's funds. But wait, there's more. Remember how I said I was feeling overshadowed by my sister? Well, my dad must have picked up on that because he did something totally out of character. He apologized for not being more supportive and for always comparing me to my sister. He admitted that he should have been there to help me with the tickets from the start. It was a real heart-to-heart moment, and I could tell he meant every word. Now, with the ticket issue resolved, I thought things would go back to normal. But nope, life had another curveball to throw my way. My sister, who had been pretty mad at me, came to me one evening with a look I couldn't quite read. She sat down next to me and, to my utter shock, she apologized. She said she realized she had been too hard on me and that she should have been more understanding of the pressure I was under with exams and everything. But here's the kicker. She didn't just apologize. She also confessed that she had been dealing with her own issues. Turns out, she had been feeling the pressure of being the perfect one in the family and was afraid of letting everyone down. We had a long talk, and it felt like we finally saw each other as siblings, not just as the responsible one and the screw-up. Things at home started to improve dramatically after that. My sister and I began to bond over our shared experiences, and we even started studying together. My dad was making more of an effort to be involved in my life, and it felt like our family was getting stronger. But the real cherry on top? The school decided to change their policy on ticket sales because of the whole situation. They realized it was unfair to put so much pressure on students, and from now on, they're going to handle ticket sales differently. It felt like a huge win, not just for me, but for all the students who would come after me. Sis betrays me by telling our obsessed dad my wedding venue. Oh boy, he shows up and causes a scene, but my stepdad saves the day. Boyfriend confesses he encouraged sis to tell dad. Dad tries to crash the reception, but security kicks him out. Hi Reddit, I'm in a bit of a pickle and could use your judgment. Please do not hesitate to give me your honest opinions. Here's the situation. My biological father, who I am estranged from and have absolutely no contact with, is really obsessed with me. Stalker level, sort of obsessed. In the past, my sister, not out of malice, but due to her carelessness, has given him information about my whereabouts and activities, despite my explicit instructions not to. Once again, I don't think she was being malicious. She just genuinely is a very bubbly and excitable person. She gets excited about my achievements, then blurts out what I'm doing completely thoughtlessly. She does this with a lot of stuff. With a lot of people, this has led to several not-so-great moments and confrontations. Now, I'm about to get married. Given the past incidents, I've decided not to share any details of the wedding venue with my sister. She knows the date and has been instructed to be ready by a certain time, at which point my mom and stepdad will pick her and her boyfriend up and bring them to the ceremony. This is purely to prevent any information from reaching my biological father. My sister is quite upset by this. She feels like I'm treating her like a child, and she's arguing that she should have the autonomy to drive herself and leave whenever she wants. She insists that she's learned from her past mistakes. However, I'm really concerned that she might slip up and mention the venue to our father, who 100% would show up uninvited, causing a scene. He has a history of being disruptive, and I worry he might try to confront, fight my fiancée, or insist on walking me down the aisle, both of which would be very distressing for everyone involved. To me, it's bad enough I can't keep the wedding a secret, because now I have to assume he knows and is looking for me. I understand my sister's frustration, but I feel like I'm in a no-win situation. On one hand, I want to keep my wedding day peaceful and focused on celebrating with my fiancé and loved ones. On the other hand, I hate that I have to resort to such measures and cause tension with my sister. Also, security is being hired, but I'm not super confident in them being able to stop my 6'7" dad when he's on a warpath. I've seen him, quite literally, grab a full-grown man and huck them like a hay bale when he was playing, to say nothing if he thinks he has a goal. He also walked off a broken neck somehow, along with multiple other serious injuries after a car accident. I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen it. So, am I the jerk for not trusting my sister with the details of my wedding venue until the day of the wedding? Edit. Forgot to add her and my dad's ages, in case it's relevant. Edit 2. Got my stories mixed up. The situation is more similar to the beginning of Alalairao and not Donkey Skin. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. After the wedding, you can test your sister's ability to keep quiet about your life on something unimportant, e.g., give her a decoy location for your next weekend away. See if she really cannot tell her father about you. Be aware that in some relationships, information is currency to win affection, attention, status. So your sister may be trading something your father values, details of your life, for something she wants, approval. It is very difficult to break this dynamic. Comment 2. Your safety is the priority here. I get where your sister is coming from, but there is no trust that she will be able to contain herself. Life isn't always fair. If she wants to attend, these are the rules. That is just how it has to be. Not the idiot. Now for the update. Hey Reddit, it's been 2 weeks since I last posted about my wedding drama, and boy, do I have an update for you. Buckle up, because this has been a wild ride. First off, let me give you a bit of history about my sister and me. We grew up pretty close, but she's always been the free spirit to my more reserved nature. She's the type who'd give you the shirt off her back, but also the type to accidentally spill your deepest secrets in a casual conversation. Our dad left when we were kids, and it hit her hard. She's always been seeking his approval, which is why I think she slips up and tells him things about me. Now, onto the juicy stuff. After my last post, I thought I had everything under control. My sister was sulking, but she agreed to the plan. My mom and stepdad were on board, and security was briefed about my dad's, let's say, Hulk-like tendencies. But then, 2 days before the wedding, I got a call from my mom. She was in tears. My sister had gone behind my back and, in a moment of weakness, reached out to our dad. She told him everything: the venue, the time, even the freaking menu. I was livid. I felt betrayed. How could she do this after everything? The confrontation with my sister was intense. She cried, apologized, and swore she was just trying to mend fences. She said she thought if our dad saw how happy I was, he'd change. Classic her, always thinking with her heart and not her head. The day of the wedding arrived, and I was a nervous wreck. I couldn't enjoy the morning with my bridesmaids because I was waiting for the inevitable disaster. And sure enough, as I'm about to walk down the aisle, who should show up but dear old Dad? He made a beeline for my fiancée, shouting about how he wasn't good enough for me. Security tried to intervene, but it was like watching a chihuahua bark at a bear. My dad, true to form, tossed one of the guards aside like he was nothing. The guests were shocked. My fiancée was trying to stay calm, and I was just about ready to elope right there. But then, something unexpected happened. My stepdad, who's always been the quiet type, stepped in. He's not a small guy, but next to my dad, he looked like David to Goliath. They had a stare down that felt like it lasted an eternity. My stepdad said something in a low voice that I couldn't hear, but whatever it was, it stopped my dad in his tracks. He looked at me, then at my stepdad, and left without another word. The wedding went on, but the mood was soured. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, and my sister's betrayal hung over the event like a dark cloud. After the wedding, things got even messier. My sister's boyfriend, who had been suspiciously quiet this whole time, confessed that he had encouraged her to tell our dad. He thought it would be a healing moment. I couldn't believe it. The guy I'd welcomed into my family was partly responsible for almost ruining my big day. Now here's where karma comes into play. My dad, who had been lurking around the venue, ended up getting a taste of his own medicine. He tried to crash the reception, but this time, security was ready. They'd called for backup after the earlier incident, and my dad was met with a team that could handle his antics. He was escorted off the property without causing another scene. As for my sister, she's been trying to make amends, but I'm keeping her at arm's length for now. I need time to process the hurt and the betrayal. My mom and stepdad have been my rocks, supporting me through this whole ordeal. Ex-hubby tells our 6-year-old his side of the story, and now she's pissed at me. Oh boy, she's in for a surprise when she finds out who's the reason we're not back together. I am a 28-year-old woman and have been divorced from my daughter's father for the last 5 years. My daughter is 6 years old and now has started to have questions as to why her parents aren't together. I have always told her until I feel that she is mature enough to speak about the conversation we will. But lately in the past month she has been asking more and more, and finally said, "Well, my dad has told me why, so I don't understand, why can't you?" Her father, a 29-year-old man, has been speaking to my child and telling her his side of events that led to us no longer being together. Now, my daughter has anger towards me as she thinks I'm keeping secrets from her. But I just keep telling her that conversation is between adults and not a child. I have been with my current partner, a 30-year-old man, for about 2 years and have recently had a new addition to our family. We have always done things together, never leaving my daughter out. But as of a couple of days, she says she no longer loves him as he is the reason her dad and I can't get back together. But her dad has had a relationship a couple of months after our separation. But it seems her father can't do wrong, only I. I have confronted my ex-husband, and the only thing he tells me is that he will not stop answering her questions due to her wanting to know, and that he sees no wrong. Update. Thank you for all the advice I have received. But to answer 2 questions, as they are being asked numerous times, I might have not worded it correctly. First, the reason for my divorce was due to multiple cheating that happened through our marriage during work trips and out of them. Second, in our divorce, I didn't fight for anything, as I just wanted our daughter to see how a healthy relationship should be between her father and me. We never argued in front of her. We divorced when she was just 2 years old. Since the day we separated, she understood as I always told her the appropriate information for her to understand. My ex-husband and I had agreed that when she was 8, we would speak about the reasons why our divorce happened, but obviously that didn't happen. Our daughter understands what it is to have 2 homes and have our significant others in her life and what they represent, which she has great relationships with them. I have done everything in my power for this not to affect our child. She understands it was not due to her and that we both love her so much. What she is wondering is why I don't speak about the conversation is due to my ex saying that he tried to fix our marriage, but I didn't want to, and that I left and took her with me, and blamed my current partner as to why mommy and daddy can no longer get back together as we have a child. I have the right to restart my life, but in his eyes, I do not have that right. Everything was calm in our divorce until I got married and had another child, which triggered him, and he started to tell our daughter information that we both discussed as to when it should have been said to her. My partner and I have both agreed that if he doesn't want to take counselling, we will be putting our daughter through it, as I do want her to hear that it has never been because of her. But life took us in a different path. She doesn't hold any hate towards our newborn. On the other hand, she loves her and is a great big sister. She just feels that I need to be more open to her in certain conversations, which I agree, but to a certain limit. Her father will always be her father, but I just want him to understand certain things should involve our child as she is too young. I will be contacting my lawyer regarding the proper steps I have to take to not allow this to happen once again. As I have done everything on my end to make him understand, but it doesn't seem to be enough. I can't dwell on what if he decides not to do anything until he is ready, as this is not about him or me, but about our child and what benefits her the most. But once again, thank you for all the comments and advice that everyone has given me. I do appreciate it. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Scrolling through this, you're the idiot. First, I ended up in therapy at 15 because my parents never explained their divorce to me. My therapist stated that this is one of the things that most parents get wrong, and they use one of 2 excuses to rationalize it. One is that the child is too young. The other is that they are too embarrassed to have the conversation with their child. I don't know if that's as common as he claimed, but I know that I wanted to know why my parents weren't together at 6 and at 7, and still at 8, and so on and so forth. By 15, they were both remarried, and I still wanted to know what happened. Second, you claim you have a divorce decree that prevents you from talking badly about each other, but he's breaking that decree. I would pursue legal recourse, or I'd just ignore it the way your ex is and tell the truth. I'm also pretty sure that telling the truth can't be seen as talking bad about him. Honestly, it sounds like you just don't want to talk to your daughter about it and are using this decree as an excuse not to. Comment 2. You're the idiot. You're mad because you can't control the conversations between your ex and your daughter. Kids know a lot more than you think they do and understand a lot. I'm not saying to give her the full adult version with all the drama, but a nice, clean, straight-to-the-point talk would be helpful. It's extremely important to kids that you trust them. By withholding things, they feel like you don't trust them, and that makes them angry with you. Plus, wouldn't you want to know what happened? She is a person with thoughts and emotions. Put yourself in her shoes. If you were a kid and your parents divorced and you had to split your time, holidays, etc., between them, wouldn't you have questions? You are supposed to be the person with the answers, and you're letting her down. Now for the update. Hey everyone, back with an update on the situation with my ex-husband and our daughter. Things have taken a turn, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it all. So, after my last post, I decided to have a heart-to-heart with my daughter. I explained to her that sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, and that her dad and I both love her very much. I didn't go into the details about the cheating because, well, she's only 6. But I did tell her that we both wanted different things, and that's why we couldn't stay together. She seemed to understand, but I could tell she was still holding on to what her dad had told her. Now, here's where it gets messy. My ex has been stirring the pot even more. Just 3 days ago, he dropped a bombshell on our daughter during his weekend with her. He told her that I was the one who had an affair, not him, and that's why we split up. My jaw hit the floor when she came home and confronted me with this lie. I couldn't believe he'd stoop so low. I immediately called him, furious, but he just doubled down on his story. He said he had proof and that he was just being honest with our daughter. I reminded him of our agreement to wait until she was older to discuss these things, but he just shrugged it off. He's convinced that he's doing the right thing by telling her his twisted version of the truth. My current partner has been a rock through all of this. He's been supportive and understanding, even though my ex's lies have painted him as the bad guy who broke up our family. It's not fair to him, and it's not fair to our daughter. I've been talking to my lawyer about what steps we can take to protect our daughter from these harmful lies. It's a tricky situation because we both have parental rights. But I'm hoping we can come to some sort of agreement that puts our daughter's well-being first. In the meantime, I've been doing my best to reassure my daughter that she is loved and that none of this is her fault. It breaks my heart to see her caught in the middle of this. She's been acting out a bit at school, which is totally out of character for her. Her teacher called me to express concern, and I had to explain that we're going through a tough time at home. I've also started looking into counselling for her. I want her to have a safe space to talk about her feelings and to understand that sometimes adults make mistakes, but that doesn't change how much we love her. It's been a rough few days, to say the least. I'm trying to stay strong for my daughter and my newborn, but it's hard when it feels like my ex is trying to turn my daughter against me. I never imagined co-parenting would be this difficult. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.